Welcome to SVGTV News for Monday, December 6th, 2021. I am Bacchus-Baptiste with the details. Lawyers for the Public Service Union and the SVG Teachers Union will be filing an injunction this week against the government's vaccination policy. President of the PSU, Elroy Boucher, told SVGTV News earlier today via a telephone interview that they will use all means possible to find redress for public sector workers who've been affected by the policy.
What we have done, and when I say we now, not just the Public Service Union, along with the Teachers Union, we have instructed our lawyers to file an injunction, and I understand this morning that that should be filed this week, to file an injunction against the vaccine mandate. But we have also instructed our lawyers to begin looking at all of those workers who, by virtue of their refusal to be vaccinated, will be out of a job, quote unquote. And those cases, all of them, we have to act on their behalf legally. So we expect that those cases will be entering the court soon. However, method or strategy that the lawyers choose to use, we are not sure, but we have instructed them that on behalf of all of those workers, we must go to the court to seek redress.
Boucher said that as of last Thursday, about 25 public servants indicated to the union that they took the decision not to get vaccinated, including 4 nursing midwives. 4
of the midwives who have chosen not to be vaccinated, and I mention that because there's a shortage of midwives, so that will have an impact. And then I know there are a number of other nurses. I don't have the exact numbers of all the persons within the public service as yet, because I don't know if they have all given their information to the union office. So we have all of those. So there are a lot of persons who have chosen not to be vaccinated, and they are convinced that they ought not to be. And we have to respect persons' convictions because it should be a choice, and they have made that particular choice.
The PSU president said the union will also give support to the SVG Teachers Union protest action in capital Kingston on Friday and urge members to stand in solidarity with the unvaccinated public servants and teachers.
In concert with the Simmons and Agrarian Teachers Union, and I know that they have indicated strike action for the Tuesday and Wednesday of this week and a protest on Friday. I think those actions have been called by the Teachers Union. Of course, we stand in solidarity with them and those public servants who wish to join them in the demonstration. Of course, we encourage them to really do that, because we must stand in solidarity with them, because the fight that we're having is basically a common one. People might ask, why aren't we calling for the industrial action? All cards are on the table, but at this particular time, we have to look and see what is going to happen with that injunction.
Meanwhile, President of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald is calling on all teachers and principals to stay away from school tomorrow and Wednesday in solidarity with unvaccinated teachers, whom he say may now be on the breadline because of the government's policy or mandate for vaccination. Robinson told SVGTV News that parents are also encouraged to support the 2-day strike action and the picket on Friday by leaving their children at home. For the picket on Friday in Kingston, Robinson is calling for the support of all workers, vaccinated and vaccinated. He is also calling on the churches and their leaders to stand in solidarity with the vaccinated and unvaccinated.
We will observe all the traffic rules. We're not going to interfere with the traffic. We're going to stay on the sidewalk around the vegetable market. And that is why we have been telling our members and other supporters who may come around to be in solidarity with us, do not get into any conflict with the police. So we're not going to interfere with the traffic laws. We're going to stay around the vegetable market, and we will do so peacefully and orderly. What we are doing, we are seeking permission to use amplified sound. That is what we are doing. And we are expecting that the teachers will come out in the numbers, both unvaccinated and vaccinated. And we want the parents also to join us. The parents and the students. I know some schools now doing exams, but we could put the exams on hold for just those 2 days and do it after.
Robinson is, however, asking that persons who will be participating in the picket action on Friday not to wear political party colors, but to fill the entire town with black.
Support the teachers in this very important, crucial time. All the taxi drivers, the van drivers, the fisher folk, the farmers, the other trade unions, the rest of civil society. Now is the time to rise up and to stand with the teachers of the nation. You know, even if it is one teacher, we must all rally around that one teacher, and the time is now. If we don't do it now, we're going to lose it, because the Constitution is being tampered with at this time, and we have to put a stop into that. We need to repeal that mandatory vaccination law, and we need to challenge everything else that infringes on people's working condition without their consent, without the collective bargaining process, and anything that impinges on the fundamental right and freedom. Now is the time that we are asking the nation to rally with us. We are asking everybody to dress in black.
The SVGTU president said teachers and other persons should not be intimidated from participating in the industrial action on Friday, noting that it will be a peaceful protest.
To say to our teachers that the Ministry of Education, they would be asking the education officers to tell the principal to call you and ask you why you're not coming. You don't have to give anybody any excuse why your trade union has called you to strike. So we don't want anybody to be afraid. You stay up the job today, anybody interfere with you, the union is going to take it up. So on Friday, we are going to have our picket in Kingston, starting from 9:30, observing all health protocols, no interference with the traffic. Make sure that your placards are not defamatory, and we want to have a peaceful, orderly picket in the city, but we want to send a clear message to the government that we are against mandatory vaccination and that people have a choice to their conscience, to their religion, and they have a right to your thought and to express it in its fullness, without any victimization, without any discrimination.
Speaking on the proposed withdrawal of service on Tuesday and Wednesday by teachers and the protests in Kingston on Friday called for by the Teachers Union, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on radio on Sunday said the state has an obligation to ensure the safety of children in school and for teachers to be in the classroom to teach. He assured parents that all schools will be open on the days announced by the SVGTU for the industrial action.
And this thing about asking parents not to send their children to school, I mean, that's a non-starter. I just want to tell the parents, look, the teachers can't have it every which way. I'm talking about those teachers who have decided not to take the vaccine. We can't have a set of persons who want to act outside of the framework of what a duly elected government acting on behalf of the people, that what is being done, and decide that you're going to seek to disrupt education of the children. That's not going to happen. That's not going to be permitted. And it is entirely unreasonable and unacceptable for any teacher who is vaccinated to say that they're going to sit out or sit in or whatever. You don't work with yourself. You know, you're not doing a favor for gratis. The people of the country are in solidarity with you by paying you for working, by giving you many, many benefits.
Prime Minister Gonsalves also questioned the public morality in teachers withdrawing their service.
You are being paid. You have decided that you're not going to work. But in addition, in the occupation which you are, you're being paid, you're not going to work. But you're going further. You want to use the children whom you're obliged to teach because of your job, that you now want to use the children as a battering ram against the government? Would somebody please explain to me, where is the public morality in that? Because when you claim yourself you're on a pedestal, you know, I have to judge you in relation to those things.
According to PM Gonsalves, courts have ruled across the world that requiring vaccination to do a job is perfectly constitutional and legal.
I don't think anybody will say that if you take away somebody's liberty and you have them locked up, the state does that. That's your responsibility for their safety, their health. Huh? So you don't want prison officers to be coming and going without them being vaccinated, because you don't want them to give a prisoner the virus. So that's the prisoners. The police are in your face when they give you a ticket. The police are in your face when they arrest you. You don't want to have that problem as citizens. You don't want the farmers in my constituency and other workers tell me. A farmer says to me, comrade, more than one. Comrade, I may or may not take the vaccine, but I agree with you. The nurses and the doctors should take it, because when I go to the clinic or the hospital, I don't want anybody who ain't vaccinated to attend to me. Huh? That's in your face. Same thing with immigration and customs, and by extension the airport and the seaports. And of course, I'm coming to the teachers last, and of course, the permanent secretaries and the head of departments, even though some of them are not in your face like the others, they interact with a wide range of persons. And what is important there, they're the ones who are enforcing the regulations. Well, clearly, Cecil, you can't have a permanent secretary or head of department enforcing the regulation when they themselves not vaccinated.
Providing the latest stats on the frontline and strategic workers who have met the requirement under the statutory rule and order number 28, 2021 to take at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccines by the 10-day grace period from November 19, 2021, which ended last Friday, December 3rd, 2021. Prime Minister Gonsalves said the numbers he got indicate over 90% vaccination rate among the several categories of the workers required to take the job. The teachers are, however, still lagging behind with 85% vaccinated. PM Gonsalves said as a consequence of the slow movement among teachers to get vaccinated, the Ministry of Education took steps to ensure no classroom is left without a teacher and went ahead to hire some persons to teach on short-term contracts, including retired teachers. He said up to Saturday, December 4th, 4th, 2021, some 90 relief teachers were hired, largely for the primary schools and some in the secondary schools.
No, they'll probably need, I don't know, a number close to that number again. Not to be particularly short, and I think they're still interviewing and contacting persons, including retired teachers. And we had made it plain, and the cabinet has decided on my recommendation that in terms of any retired teacher who decides to come back, who is vaccinated, they could get a short-term contract and they will be paid their pensions whilst they get their salary on whatever the short-term contract is. Because remember what I've been saying here, the government has a high responsibility to make sure that the students are in a safe environment, that persons who are teaching them are vaccinated, persons who are around are vaccinated, working in the kitchen, ancillary workers, and the like. And persons, and we are also high on the totem pole, is that the teachers, that the students be taught. There is no pulling away from those obligations. No, I know you will say, well, Ralph, it means that you may be spending extra money because you may have extra teachers, because since then a number of other teachers have take the vaccine, sorry. I said, well, fine, if even for a short period of time you have additional teachers in addition to those existing ones, so be it.
Prime Minister Gonsalves also noted that some persons, including teachers, are awaiting letters as to whether they have been exempted from taking the job on medical or religious grounds so that accommodation can be made, which he admitted may be a challenge in itself.
Okay? Because you may not make it on religious grounds. You may not cut the exemption on religious grounds. And if you don't cut it on religious grounds, that's the end of that matter. If you do, you still have to have the hurdle that an accommodation can be made for you. There are several churches that have made it plain publicly that it is not part of their doctrine that they're against the vaccine. Seventh-day Adventists, Roman Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, others. All right? Because on the form you have to sign, you have to have your pastor, the head of your church, to sign to say that this is a doctrinal, you have a doctrine which says you're against vaccines. Huh? Now, obviously, if you don't have any pastor to sign that, you haven't completed the basis for your exemption. So, and then you have to have an accommodation. That is to say, the employer can put you somewhere else. Now, I don't know, that's a business between the Ministry of Education and the Chief Personnel Office or the Public Service Commission.
The Prime Minister maintained that his government has taken a targeted approach, giving full amplitude of reasonableness with its vaccination policy, noting that requirements are made in other jurisdictions where there is no exemption on religious grounds.
But we went and we, against advice of certain jurists, I insisted that it go in, even though that I know challenges in its application. Because I wanted to do the limbo, to bend down as far as I could go in managing all the competing policy issues to be addressed in relation to this COVID vaccination and to deal with the COVID pandemic.
In terms of the police and their exemption status, the Prime Minister said he was informed by the Commission of Police that those who apply for religious exemption, there is no accommodation because they do not want to hold the posts.
They can't do it. They don't have it anyway in the front line of the police force to do that. But when I see the data, there may well be John Brown, who has a religious exemption, who can't stay inside of the police force, obviously, during the course of the pandemic. You may need a security officer at the Attorney General's chambers, for instance. We could, a person conceivably could be assigned there. I know there would be one position short in the police force, but there are other positions which we are going to fill 100 or so, because we're going to train about 100. I think that's the number in the new estimates. But you notice that what I'm saying from my standpoint, and the way the rules are written, we will make every effort, but we are constrained by practical circumstances in making the accommodation.
Even if he loses everything, President of the Police Welfare Association, Brenton said that he refuses to let the government's vaccination policy take away his constitutional rights. Smith told SVGTV News that based on the SRNO 28 of 2021 Public Health Rules and Order, he is deemed as unemployed as of last Friday, December 3rd, as he is not taking the jab. However, he noted that each opportunity he gets, he still attend court when he is supposed to be on duty.
I attend. In fact, I've just came from the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where I had a matter there at the court in which I would have arrested someone during my active duty. I also attended court at the Serious Offences Court on Monday last because I was one for duty. Now, I find it very strange, though, that I can attend court, being unvaccinated as it is, but I cannot attend a usual workplace unless I'm vaccinated. So that's where we stand here in this country.
Smith said based on a decision by the general membership and the executive of the Police Welfare Association, it is also their intention to challenge the government's vaccination policy. He further noted that he has no problem with persons who want to get vaccinated, but he detests the way persons are being forced to do so.
The pros and the cons of the vaccination, of those who have been vaccinated. So, quite rightly so. I have followed both the pros and the cons, and I am not totally satisfied that the vaccine is safe for me to take at this time. I'm not saying in the future, if the scientists go otherwise, that's to my satisfaction that I won't take it. But as it stands now, I'm not quite satisfied that the vaccine is the safest for me to do so. But more importantly, is the whole issue of our constitutional rights, our right to consent, our right to conscience, of expression, that has been taken away from us.
The Police Welfare Association president said from his understanding, just under 50 police officers have not taken the jab, with about 20 plus who have resigned or retired because of the mandate.
Well, no, I will tell you, it is very difficult, especially this Christmas season, for many police families. Yeah. Some of us will not be receiving any salary at the end of December, or whenever salary is being paid for the month of December, because normally it will be paid around the 20th, yes. Yeah. But some of us will not be receiving any salaries, and of course it's going to be difficult for persons. It was also said that those of us who did not resign or retire before the 19th, when the government mandate came into being, would lose our benefits.
Smith is encouraging everyone to support the teachers' union protest action on Friday, noting that no one should be placed in a position to give up their constitutional rights.
I just want to urge the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Whether you are in leadership, in your respective groups, organizations, to understand that this matter is a very important one for all of us as Vincentians, and that we must stand together for this one. I'm calling on all of the religious leaders as well to forget about our pettiness that we might have had in the past, if we have had any at all, and stick with the Vincentian public. Stick with the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the police officers in this fight. Because today might be for us, tomorrow might be for the churches. And the churches, of course, will need the support of the general public. So now is a great opportunity.
The latest COVID-19 stats indicate that 2 new deaths have been recorded here. The victims are a 55-year-old female who tested positive for COVID-19 on November 20th, 2021, died on December 4th, 2021. A 69-year-old male who tested positive for COVID-19 on December 4th and died on December 5th. Both patients who were admitted to the COVID-19 isolation ward at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital had known underlying conditions and were unvaccinated. Their deaths bring the country's death toll from COVID-19 to 76. And 80 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported from 190 samples collected on Wednesday, December 1st, 2021, resulting in a positivity rate of 9.5%. 17 new rapid antigen positive results were also reported from flu clinics on Wednesday. 26 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported from 170 samples collected on Thursday, December 2nd, 2021, resulting in a positivity rate of 15.2%. 90 new rapid antigen positive results were also reported from flu clinics on Thursday. There are currently 5 patients admitted for COVID-19 at the Argyle Isolation Facility. All are said to be unvaccinated. 5 patients have also been admitted to the COVID-19 ward at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. All are also said to be unvaccinated. 19 recoveries were noted over the reporting period. 451 cases are currently active and 76 persons with COVID-19 have died. 5,623 cases of COVID-19 and 5,096 recoveries have been recorded in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. The presentation of the 2022 estimates of revenue and expenditure that was scheduled for Wednesday, December 8, 2021, has been postponed to Monday, December 13, 2021. This was announced on radio on Sunday by Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves, who said the budget presentation will now be made on January 3, 2022, with the meeting of the Standing Committee on Finance scheduled to take place on Friday, December 10th at the House of Assembly from 9 a.m.
Those dates were set sometime last week. I informed the Speaker and she informed the Leader of the Opposition. In fact, as I speak, the estimates are being printed. I'm hoping that we'll have them on ready tomorrow morning to be distributed to the parliamentarians. So they'll have a good week before you have the debate on the estimates. It will be quite good. Been a tremendous amount of work this year, as you could imagine. All the time it's a lot of work, but to deal with the budget in a situation of the second year of COVID and the volcanic eruptions, there's some real challenges. But I believe we have gotten them pretty much right in addressing existing problems, which we have to do rebuilding, and at the same time to keep the strategic focus of sustainable development and to continue a number of programs.
After mass protests in July of this year, 8 individuals, including Adriana King, Kenson King, Patrice Knight and Colin Graham were arrested and charged by the police with 2 charges against them each for organizing a public procession without notifying the Commission of Police at least 24 hours before the procession and knowingly taking part in a public procession or meeting in contravention of Section 5.1 and 5.2 of the Public Order Act. Today, however, the office of the DPP sent out notice that the cases have been nulli pros. In an interview this evening with SVGTV News, one of the lawyers representing the defendants, K. Bacchus-Baptiste, said she is not surprised by the decision by the DPP.
Nulli pros, all the cases involving the persons who they had arrested for been organizing their procession and also for holding a procession without informing the police, which means that they will not be offering any evidence in any of the cases, 8 of them, all of them with 2 charges each. They would not be offered any evidence, and so that means at the end of the matter. Of course, I am not surprised because I always said that they will have an impossible task of proving that these persons were involved in organizing the protest. They were persons attending the protest like everybody else. And I also thought they would have a difficult position in proving also that they did it without notifying the police, because I maintain that the law does not require protesters to inform the police as they say. And so I guess they recognized that they would have had an uphill battle to defend all these charges, and so they decided to proceed no further. It means that all of these persons who were arrested, detained, in prison, were falsely imprisoned.
Bacchus-Baptiste noted that the 8 defendants can now sue the state for false imprisonment, among other things.
It means that all of these persons who were arrested, detained, in prison, were falsely imprisoned and could very well bring charges against the government for false arrest and false imprisonment and malicious prosecution. It was clear to me that these were political prosecutions and not warranted. And now we have been vindicated because the prosecution recognizes that it will be difficult to get a conviction, and therefore they decided rightly not to continue them.